Daily. My name is Yunus Lasania. So today, essentially, we are doing a special episode, particularly on the GHMC election. And I'm pretty sure all of you can see that there's a lot of hectic campaigning going on. But this particular election, in fact, we wanted to talk about particularly because we are also seeing a very aggressive Hindutva campaign this time by the BJP. So for that, to discuss what exactly is happening and where the TRS stands, what is the MIM doing, etc., we have a guest with us today, Mr. Palwai Raghavendra Reddy, who is a political consultant and an analyst. He has also worked as a journalist in the past, and he has a lot of experience in his field in different states of India like Chhattisgarh, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and other places. So, welcome Mr. Raghavendra Reddy to our show.
Thank you, Yunus. Thank you for having me today.
So, just to give you all a backgrounder, this particular election, we have the Telangana Rashtra Samiti led by State Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao. The TRS in the last GHMC election on its own won 99 seats out of the 150 GHMC wards. And the MIM, the Majlis-e-Ittehad al-Muslimin, led by our Hyderabad MP Asaduddin Owaisi, that party won 44 seats last time. Basically, both the parties last time won very comfortably, and BJP and the Congress and even the TDP, which was around last time, which had a good presence last time, they were basically left for scraps with nothing. But this time, the equations have changed. The BJP in particular, its leaders like the state president Bandi Sanjay Kumar, Nizamabad MP Arvind, Dharmapuri Arvind, and well, we're seeing a very communally charged atmosphere this time because of the kind of statements that are being made, especially with Bandi Sanjay Kumar saying things like a surgical strike will be done in the old city, possibly referring to some kind of an offensive on Muslims that he said will be taken on. But so what we want to discuss here, especially where I think Mr. Raghavendra Reddy will be able to tell us, is that why do you think this election has taken on this form, compared to last time? This is a municipal election where the issues are very like क्या बोलते हैं, रास्ते पे कचरा है, road खराब है. This is what the GHMC is supposed to do: put roads, take care of the municipal corporation at best, and that's civic issue. Why do you think this has become a very aggressive campaign this time around?
It is quite unfortunate, Yunus, because since 2014 or 2013, जब से Narendra Modi has come onto the center stage, politics in this country have completely taken a different turn. So though we had communal issues, communal elements flaring up from time to time, but it has never been the mainstream of a political scenario in any state. Where it became the mainstream, but today unfortunately we see that happening and that too not even in a assembly election, or not even in a say parliament or any other big election, but when we are looking at say GHMC municipal election, it is quite unfortunate. Okay, and why is this happening? It is happening because BJP thinks that is the only way they will be able to attract more voters. Their share of votes will go up only when they talk about religion, only when they criticize MIM, when they criticize OIC, or even to the extent of criticizing Jinnah. Okay, so we have seen that happening in these elections, where even a young parliamentarian from Bangalore comes to Hyderabad, campaigns here and talks about Jinnah, which is quite unfortunate to see, but that's I think this is what we are going to see. This is the model BJP is going to employ from here on, and this is a precursor to the bigger things that we are going to see in the next months and years ahead.
So, just to put things in perspective, after Telangana was formed in 2014, we saw the TRS win 63 seats, and Congress had 21 seats, and the TDP had 15, etc. It was very splintered. But by the end of 2018, in the elections, in the state elections, the TRS managed to, well, it had poached a lot of MLAs, and 2018 के election में अपन जहाँ 88 सीट्स टीआरएस जीती और एमआईएम के साथ सीट उनके पास थी. बीजेपी got one at that point of time. In fact, when we were discussing this issue previously, and Raghav Saab had told me at that point of time that the recently concluded Dubak election actually would have a major impact on state politics, which is the reason why we've also, one of the major reasons why we invited, because we want to get some insights from him. Dubak election mein, so Dubak election, for those of you who don't know, it was held by Solipita Ramlinga Reddy, the former TRS MLA who passed away recently. So that is the reason why the seat had to be, it had to go for by-election. So, and surprisingly, the BJP won. Raghunandan Rao from the BJP campaigned very hectic. I mean, it was a very fiercely contested seat. Generally, by-elections are won by ruling parties. I mean, or the local strongman or whatever the case. But what happened in Dubak and why is there a spillover? Because it is a seat outside Hyderabad, and what is happening is in the GHMC area. So,
Dubaka was a different aspect altogether, because Dubaka, with the candidate, the BJP candidate Raghunandan Rao, was contesting there for the last 3 terms, and probably it was kind of people there also wanted to give a wake-up call to KCR. It is not that they are so much anti, or they have gone towards BJP, but they kind of wanted to give a jolt to the current regime, because many aspects of the Telangana movement, like employment was one of the key aspects during the entire agitation, which lasted for more than a decade. So the youth of Telangana wanted KCR to give them jobs, to ensure that there is better opportunities created in the state. But that was one element which probably didn't happen to satisfy the youth of the state. So, and I think Dubaka election was more or less an opportunity for the youth, for all those people who wanted to kind of tell KCR that things need to be done differently and not the way which are being currently run. And BJP was in the correct phase where they had a candidate who contested for the last 3 times and lost the election. So there was kind of a public sympathy towards him, and he comes from the same family as KCR, and kind of people, he projected himself as a challenger to the CM. So these are some of the aspects which kind of helped BJP win that seat. But will that carry forward to GHMC as a whole? May not be. But that has surely motivated BJP to take the same model, the same divisive political model, to apply in GHMC polls as well. And unfortunately, KCR and TRS is falling for that act, because one needs to appreciate the fact that the elections of 2018, when TRS came back to power, the vote was for development. It was not for anything else, okay? Because a party which won just 60 plus seats went on to almost win close to 90 seats, okay? It was a huge, commendable performance. And that happened because KCR has done a lot of activities. There was a lot of welfare that was getting delivered to the people of Telangana. And unfortunately, today in GHMC elections, we see KCR and TRS is getting deviated from that narrative and probably acting on the same lines, or trying to counter BJP to a great extent, which will only benefit the Saffron party rather than TRS.
So that's actually put things in perspective. लेकिन एक चीज है इसमें 2018 में जब TRS जीती, so just for those of you who don't know, TRS won 88 seats. उसके बाद कांग्रेस won 19 seats, and of those 19 people 12 shifted to TRS. TDP के 2 MLA थे, I think दोनों भी TRS में. So 119 seats असेंबली में से TRS के पास फिलहाल 107 है शायद, or around that. Now BJP has 2 MLAs from one, but the thing is, like you said that there are a lot of developmental activities and welfare schemes that KCR did. In the villages, we know that pani hai, power, electricity hai, but Hyderabad ke had tak, I think urban voters that way are very different from rural voters.
Absolutely.
Dubak mein also we saw that 80% voting had happened in that by-election. But the voting in Hyderabad, in any urban center, always uh, is less. I think 60% is what we see generally. So, So, in your opinion, where do you see the TRS standing currently? You know, from last time when it won 99 awards in GHMC. More importantly, I want to also ask you, out of the 150 awards, MIM is I think contesting about about 55 to 60 or around 55 seats, I suppose. 44, 45 it is expected to win in the old city areas, maybe 1, 2 here, this, whatever it can. Where does the TRS stand now? Because the TRS is contesting in the old city areas as well, but MIM is not contesting outside those areas. So,
Yeah, so TRS, again, like I said, this is where the narrative has gone wrong for TRS, I should say, because there were comments from the Chief Minister and his son K.T. Rama Rao stating that MIM is a friend to us and we have no problem with that. So there were clear remarks to that effect. But suddenly we see KTR making a U-turn and saying that MIM is not a friend, but they have supported us. Okay, and then the narrative that is coming from MIM corner also is quite anti-TRS, anti-KCR kind of a narrative that is emerging to some extent. May not be not from the Owaisi brothers, but from other TRS leaders, sorry, other MIM leaders. So this is where the problem arises. I think instead of talking about progress, instead of talking about development, instead of talking about welfare that was delivered in the past, so they have shifted the narrative to a new dimension, and the entire the entire discussion, the debate has gone on religious lines, which is quite unfortunate. Now coming to the number of seats, I think TRS will see a decline with the kind of campaign that's happening. BJP is quite excited about their prospects, but ultimately we will have to see which way the election goes. And coming to the voting percentage, last time it was less than 50%. So this time let's hope whichever party wins, the voting percentage goes up.
So the other important part of this is the MIM. So I think GHMC इलेक्शन है तो वो बात करना ही है, लेकिन अगर मजलिस के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं तो अपने थोड़ा ज़्यादा बड़ा पिक्चर के we have to talk about the larger picture. कहीं को बोले तो मजलिस फिलहाल सिर्फ तेलंगाना में ही नहीं, बल्कि बिहार में अभी फिलहाल 5 सीट जीते, उससे पहले महाराष्ट्र में 2 सीट जीते, और मेरे ख्याल से अब थोड़े दिनों में अगर और भी if they manage to in a couple of UP, West Bengal are my guesses, that is where they probably looking. वहाँ पर अगर ज़्यादा सीट्स जीते बोल तो उसका मतलब ये है it will become a national party, I believe, after a certain percentage. But coming to Hyderabad Majlis, what we see outside Hyderabad is a very nationalistic, very voice of the Muslim kind of it has an aura. But only Hyderabad people know Majlis in and out because we are seeing the Majlis that way, and many people also know what the local politics involves. So, in this particular case, in this particular scenario, why do you think? What do you think? Do you think it is a game in the sense that KTR saying that they are not our friendly or they are not a friendly party or whatever, and Akbaruddin, sorry, not Akbaruddin, one of the MLAs had said if we want to make this government fall, we can make it fall. So these statements are happening, and उसके बीच में then you have the campaign statements like बंडी संजय कुमार वो सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक बोला, फिर ये बोला कि हम रोहिंग्यास को और पाकिस्तानियों को निकाल दे. I mean, there's a very logical point here that Rohingyas and other illegal immigrants are a matter of the central government home ministry का है. So like Asad directly pointed out saying that it is a failure of the home minister Amit Shah if there are illegal people living in anywhere in the country for that matter. But coming to this point, I feel that MIM and BJP are have a symbiotic relationship where both of it, both need each other to survive is probably the wrong thing to say, but we can see that each time something happens on one side, the other side retaliates. It keeps going back and forth. What do you make of this, and what do you think? How do you think it will impact state politics in going in the future, especially if BJP is growing in Telangana?
Whether it is helping BJP politically or not, but narrative, like you rightly mentioned, there is a symbiotic relationship between BJP and MIM. Okay, it might not be showing immediate political gains for BJP. Okay, so like MIM also tried hard, OIC came on national television, tried hard to convince people that okay, in Bihar, the result of Bihar was not because of MIM or not because of his party taking away Muslim vote away from other secular forces. Okay, he tried his level best to send that narrative. But as far as the overall dimension is concerned, the overall momentum that will get shifted from a normal routine political narrative to a religious framework will surely have its implications in not just in GHMC or in any other state. And Hyderabad being the capital city of Telangana, and once BJP emerges here as a political force through GHMC polls, it will surely have certain bearing. I'm not saying this is going to be the picture for the next assembly elections or the parliament elections after that, but the developments here are surely going to have certain implications. Okay, where at least in certain areas, certain districts where there is a considerable Muslim population, okay, the voter there will probably start looking at politics in a different frame now. Okay, it may not be the same frame like it was till now, so the things might change thereafter. So to that extent, the kind of politics that MIM plays or the counter politics that BJP play are surely not in the right perspective for a secular dynamism of this country.
So coming to the word secular also, of course, I am not giving a clean slate to the Congress here. Congress was in power in joint state of Andhra Pradesh up to 2014. Then it became second place after in the 2014 state elections by winning 21 seats, I believe. And by next 2018 elections, Congress made a lot of noise saying that we will win it. It made a grand alliance with TDP for the first time in its history, and left parties, etc. Whatever happened, but it did fail. What is happening to the Congress? I believe the BJP has grown by pushing the Congress aside as the main opposition party here.
Yeah, Congress kind of has lost the narrative completely, has lost the plot completely because they are unable to figure out, okay, forget GHMC elections, GHMC comes in much later, okay, but the leadership has to come from the top. Okay, unless you have leadership coming from the top, people at the grassroots will not align themselves to that leadership and work as a coherent force to ensure there is an electoral success. This is where the Congress is suffering big time. Until they figure out who their leader is, until they figure out what the entire leadership structure of the party is, I don't think they have great prospects electorally in any state in the country.
I'm guessing what you said holds for both central leadership and state leaderships.
It has to start from the top, Yunus, because when I say it has to start from the top, it has to start from the central leadership. Who heads Congress centrally? Who heads Congress at the national level? It has to start from there. That is where the alignment comes in. Unless you start it from the top, Congress has no future.
Yeah, because as far as I remember, unlike the last strong leader of Congress that we saw was YSR, Dr. YSR Shekhar Reddy, because after he died, we saw Rosaiya, then we saw Kiran Kumar Reddy. Kiran Kumar Reddy has now he left Congress, came back to Congress, still not that relevant to politics, even maybe also. Here we have seen Uttam Kumar Reddy, the current Telangana Pradesh Congress Committee chief, lose the 2014 election, lose the 2018 election, lose his own seat that he won in the 2018 state election when his wife contested in a by-election later. So Uttam Kumar Reddy, just for those of you who don't know, is the current Congress chief here. He 2018 में जो उन्होंने सीट हुजूराबाद से जीते वो उन्होंने वेकेट करे क्योंकि उन्होंने बाद में 19 के लोकसभा इलेक्शन सक्सेसफुली कंटेस्ट करके जीत भी गए नलगोंडा यस एंड उनकी वाइफ Padmavati, when she contested the by-election for the same Huzurabad MLA seat that he had vacated, the TRS won it with a huge majority over the Congress, which is supposed to be a very old Congress seat. So, I mean, that showed what actually the Congress has been reduced to. I personally, so I have been covering politics over the last 3-4 years, especially Telangana, Andhra. I have to say that the Congress does not seem to like अभी जो campaigning चल रहा from what I can see also we are basically seeing TRS and BJP. Congress is on the margins at best. That's it. Do you think there is any person in the state presently in the Congress who can maybe pull it up if there is a chance? Do you think there is someone who is capable of doing it?
Okay. So first thing, let's talk about the local GHs. There might be few candidates who might win also. Okay. So and that will be their individual ability to pull up votes and win the election. But coming to a larger perspective, you mentioned Y.S. Rajshekar Reddy. Y.S. Rajshekar Reddy became successful or he could survive a full term because he had the absolute support of Sonia Gandhi from the top leadership, and all the other factions within the party were aligned. Okay, unless that alignment happens, even if there is a single leader who is projected locally, he or she will find it difficult to rally the entire army with them. Okay, so that is where again I go back to my argument that it has to come from the top. There has to be a clear mandate, a clear leadership. That is when things will fall in place for the party.
A lot of people say that in the Congress, for example, Revanth Reddy should be made the chief, etc. I personally also see that he is still at least more visible than the others. But there are also a lot of rumors that he is likely to leave, and that there are other people in the Congress also who are likely to leave. I think we have seen a steady leave. Most of the Congress people have shifted to the TRS. Whoever are still remaining are, it is said that they will possibly join the BJP. Why do you think, in spite of, now we are seeing the BJP suddenly, waking up and aggressive Hindutva campaign, communal remarks, whatever. But why did it take them so long even to come to this place? Why do you think the BJP has never found a hold in Telangana?
See, beyond Hyderabad, the scope for religious polarization was very less in Telangana. So even in Hyderabad also, the people here talk about the age-old Ganga Jamna Tehzeeb. So which is, I think, went right, people believed in it. Okay, there was so much of harmony between Hindus and Muslims and all the other religions. So there was not, so that is where BJP could not find great ground also for themselves to emerge. Unless there is a divide, BJP, it will be very difficult for BJP to capture a considerable vote bank. And in addition to that, okay, people here cutting across religions, people were for Telangana, a common agenda of Telangana. So that also kept BJP at a distance from the state. So now with Telangana becoming a reality, and now everything else, all other dimensions cooling down, I think, and with the rise of OICs beyond Hyderabad, I think the ground is turning fertile for the saffron.
I want to know what implications do you think BJP winning will have to Hyderabad, especially with regard to communal issues? See, we know for a fact that MIM holds most of the power. I would not say power, but they are dominant there. But BJP winning seats, even cooperative seats, will mean something. Till now, interestingly, I want to add one more question here. Until now, we only had Raja Singh, who was like this one face in the BJP who would pass mostly communal remarks, and the rest of the people would say, no, he is not
He is not part
he's
of,
not part of, he's basically, they would disown the statements. But now we are seeing people like Arvind and Bandi Sanjay Kumar going beyond Raja Singh and making that only the entire stay of their campaign. So what can you anticipate both these things?
So it is not just your Raja Singh or Bandi Sanjay or Arvind Dharmapuri. Across the country, what we have noticed is after 2014 elections, the fringe is trying to take the mainstream position now. So to begin with, the mainstream has kind of tried to disown itself, okay, from the fringe, calling it as a fringe. Whatever remarks of hatred were coming out from certain leaders, Modi himself has made certain comments rejecting the fringe remarks. But now this narrative is building up. There are more and more remarks coming from the fringe elements, and they are surely trying to take the mainstream position. But it's not just with BJP, it is also from the MIM as well. MIM
Yes.
also. So now is trying. There are certain fringe elements on side of MIM also. Now it's the responsibility. While there is a responsibility of the top leadership of BJP, OICs also have a responsibility to contain the fringe from within their party to ensure that the narrative does not turn to a hugely communal lines.
And implications, and what do you think will have a direct implication? I mean, what do you think will basically be the direct implication if we see that the TRS actually concedes a lot of seats, say, to the BJP?
So BJP gaining power. Okay, today whether we like, there is a possibility that BJP will have a double-digit number of corporators sitting in the GHMC going up after December 4th. So the day that happens, I'm sure that tensions will go up. Okay, there will be the decibel, the noise decibel in GHMC will rise for sure. Will it take a religious turn? We'll have to wait and see. We hope things doesn't go beyond what can be handled, what can be controlled. We just hope things remain as cordial as possible.
Let's talk about the MIM before we also get done. Akbaruddin Owaisi was, I think, the last person to make, I would say, slightly inflammatory statement where he said that, about PV Narasimha Rao's memorial, we know what he said. So is this the other side of the BJP? Because we don't see everybody in the MIM doing it, but we see one or two people doing it, passing comments like this. Do you think these were completely unnecessary, or do you think these were retaliation to what the BJP is doing?
Yunus, I have written for Siyasat mentioning BJP and MIM are same side or two sides of the same coin. So that is something that I strongly believe in. There was no necessity of Akbar making such remarks against national leaders whom his own party has respected in the past or aligned with in the past. Okay, whether it was his elder brother or his father has aligned with people like NTR of TDP and PV Narasimha Rao. So considering their past association, there was no need for Akbar to make such a remark at such crucial times when BJP is looking for an opportunity to latch onto. So Akbar is kind of giving them the baton to catch hold of and run faster here.
1 second. यहाँ से जरा इसको जरा निकाल जरा नहीं pause कर सकते हैं. Pause पर एक मिनट. Yes. So essentially, Akbaruddin Owaisi's statement was basically on the memorials of PV Narasimha Rao and also NTR. But yeah, so this is it. But this is what it is. Although I feel that over the past few, and maybe over the last 4-5 years, we have seen MIM actually bring down its decibel to a large extent. I believe this is partly because Asad also wants to expand, so I think they can't actually go with this kind of an image where they are seen as like a second Muslim fringe or something like that. So, how do you place this in states like Bihar? He is a statesman, but in Hyderabad this is happening, or Akbar Owaisi is making these kind of statements here.
I have my doubts about his statesman kind of a narrative in Bihar as well. Even in Bihar, I am sure the campaign there was on religious lines as well. Okay, it's for the national media. It is for the English-speaking crowd. Owaisi is a nationalist, is a rational thinking Muslim, but from a voter perspective, from somebody who comes from the grassroots, he is divisive for sure. Okay, and his narrative appeals to people in the grassroots from the Muslim community, and it is hated by people at the grassroots of the others. So this is where it happens. So talking about him being a much larger inclusive personality, I have my reservations about that.
See, before we actually end this, the last part, I also wanted to talk, since we've already discussed, see, right now, TRS is basically sitting comfortable. It has nearly most of the assemblies under its control. Even if it wins 50-60 seats in the corporation, it will be fine. It can easily get the mayor position. We know that MIM actually has control of the Bhesa corporation, I think in Hyderabad, I believe. And it has some corporator seats in different districts, like I think Nalgonda, it almost won the Nalgonda city assembly seat in 2014 also. So, with that regard, now given we have seen them contest election outside states, but so far they have not actually contested in a very big manner in Telangana. Going forward, do you think there will be some clash between TRS and MIM in that regard, or they will essentially continue with their understanding?
I see that happening in the next election for sure, unless things cool down from here on. Okay, and there is a better harmony between TRS and MIM. I see MIM trying to chart its own path and trying to contest across all those assembly segments where there is a considerable Muslim vote bank, whether it is Adilabad, Nizamabad, Karimnagar, Warangal, any area that you take. I am sure that MIM will try to field its own candidates and take on all the other parties in the next election. But for that to happen, things have to, for that not to happen, things have to cool down from here on.
Okay, so before we end, let's have a prediction for the election for the GCMC. How many wards do you think which party will win? So, just, I'd like to know.
I am not sure, I don't want to make that prediction, but in all possibilities, TRS will continue to have the mayor seat, because even if the numbers come down, there is MIM to extend support.
No, of course. I'm saying out of 99, what percentage of seats do you think will be its loss?
It will not be a repeat of 99 for sure, because BJP has emerged, and there will be certain incumbency element also that will come in. So considering this, the numbers will fall down. I'm not ready to put in the exact number.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much for joining us. It was great having you. Nice talking to you. Yeah.